Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Today the film begins by showing the film's protagonist, Natalia, working in the kitchen of a convent. After lunch, her ex announces that she will soon be forced to leave and gives her a pendant with a crucifix as a defense. Natalia doesn't understand what he's talking about, but soon after, she's summoned by a nun to be informed that something has happened to her parents. Her mother is dead, and her father is seriously injured. The nun forces her to return home to visit her father. Before leaving, Natalia observes the other girls, who give off light as bright as the sun. She is gifted with the ability to see people's auras, whether they are good or evil. On her way home by train, Natalia has a vision of a frightening girl, after which she wakes up worried. In the next scene, Natalia arrives home, and when she enters, she meets the maid and her sister's boyfriend, a stud. The maid informs Natalia that her father is upstairs. Natalia finds her father seriously injured. Then, Natalia's sister appears and tells her what happened. The sister believes that her mother was possessed by an evil spirit because she was acting strangely. She would lock herself in the attic and practice black magic. In addition, the sister reveals that all the paintings in the attic were done by their mother, and she most likely used blood as ink. It turns out, the mother slit her wrists one day, and Natalia's father tried to stop her, but she seriously injured him. Now the father is badly injured and in a state of shock, so he cannot even speak. The siblings don't get along because the sister blames Natalia for leaving her alone with their parents. In the next scene, Natalia meets several of her sister's college colleagues, including Chubby, Blondie, and Sick Boy. Stud starts teasing Natalia about her virginity, but things get out of control when he aggressively pushes Natalia's sister. Suddenly, Sick Boy punches Stud in the face and pushes him away. Natalia goes to help her sister and discovers that she underwent a clandestine abortion sometime earlier. In addition, the sister has strong suspicions about the absence of a biological link between them and their own parents. Therefore, the sister invites her to join her and her friends on a spiritual journey, which includes performing a ritual designed to show each of them the truth about their past. The sister states that they are leaving tomorrow and then joins her friends. Later, Natalia goes to the attic and finds her mother's paintings. They resemble women's uterus. Natalia is startled when she realizes that the pendant given by her ex also resembles that human organ. Soon after, Natalia falls asleep on the couch and finds herself in the scene where she saw the same frightening girl again. As she walks, she hears children crying around. The girl also resembles a uterus and appears behind her. She suddenly attacks Natalia and she awakens with her father in front of her. Natalia hears a noise coming from the wardrobe and goes to check. When she realizes that the noise is coming from the wall, she tries to remove the wallpaper and finds dozens of bugs coming out. When she is about to leave, the girl from the visions appears to flex her ghostly figure and pounces on Natalia, but it is only a hallucination. The next morning, Natalia wakes up and goes to check the wardrobe again, but is suddenly approached by Stud. He tries to abuse her, but then decides to leave. Worried that this might happen to her sister, Natalia decides to join her on the spiritual journey to protect her from Stud. The group separates. Stud and Natalia's sister travel by motorcycle, while Natalia rides in the car with others. During the trip, Chubby reveals that this is not the first time they have practiced such a ritual, but they will be helped by a shaman anyway. Then the group takes a boat to reach their destination. Speaking with the companions, Natalia learns how that place is a former monastery supplanted by a hospital, which is said to be the scene of abortions and illegal happenings. The group stops in front of the abandoned monastery to wait for Natalia's sister and Stud. Meanwhile, Natalia ventures into the forest and finds the same place she saw in her visions. She carefully observes the monuments, but then an old lady appears. She tells Natalia that it is not a good time to perform the rituals they came for. Afterward, Natalia ventures back into the forest and finds an entrance to the abandoned monastery. Shortly after she enters, Sick Boy follows her, and the two get to know each other. Natalia feels particularly close to Sick Boy, who is the son of a priest, but was born with a disease called cerebral palsy, which is destroying his nervous system. On the other hand, Natalia talks about her ability to see people's auras as if it were a disease to her and not a gift. She says that sometimes people give off a bright light or a dark light. When she asks him why he chose to come here, Sick Boy says the ritual could cure his disease. Chubby and Blondie interrupt them, saying they must continue the journey because it is getting late. Natalia mentions the old lady she met earlier. But Chubby says it is not possible because the nuns abandoned this place long ago. Upon arriving at the holy place, the group spots Stud and Natalia's sister trying to enter. Stud goes into a rage when the shaman refuses him access to the place where the ritual will take place. He ends up threatening everyone with a knife, but is forced to leave when Blondie points a gun at him. Afterward, the group is welcomed into the room where the ritual will take place. When Natalia checks the shaman's aura, it gives off a bright light. He looks at Natalia and says he has been waiting for her. Afterward, they each take a potion prepared by the shaman and lie down on the floor. They each have different experiences. Natalia's sister has convulsions and says her father is making her suffer. She says that he's hiding in the wardrobe and has something to do with black magic. Natalia asks the shaman to help her sister, but he makes her drink another potion. Natalia has visions where she sees a woman giving birth to a child during a satanic ritual. Natalia recognizes the man who took off the mask as her father. He grabs a dagger and takes a baby doll from the womb of a statue. He then places it on the table and stabs it several times, staining the woman's stomach with blood. Natalia runs away in horror and returns to the monastery, where she meets 3 nuns. Soon after, the victim of the satanic ritual also arrives and begs for help. The nuns deduce that the satanic cult has tried to abort her baby. In this scene, Natalia witnesses her own birth. Here we discover that the victim is actually Natalia's mother. The devil had taken possession of her and wanted to take her baby as well. The nuns try to help her give birth to the baby, but the devil takes control and pushes a nun against the wall. After that, they tie her hands, and while 2 nuns hold her legs, another one tries to pull the baby out. Unfortunately, the devil breaks free and pushes one of the nuns to the floor. Then a nun pulls out a crucifix similar to Natalia's and places it on the possessed mother's forehead. They manage to stop the devil for a moment and change her position to make it easier for the child to come out. The nun tells the possessed mother to hold on and push the baby. Fortunately, the baby is born and named Natalia, and the nuns take it away. On the other hand, the devil is still controlling Natalia's mother and removing her ovaries. She then throws them at Natalia, causing her to wake up from panic. The alarm sounds, and Natalia realizes that 6 hours have passed since the ritual began. When she looks around, she finds no one but their clothes. Natalia hears a noise in the hallway, and when she goes to check, she finds the terrified Blondie with a gun in her hand. Blondie says she is frightened that the devil is here and they will not let them go. Then Blondie reveals that the gun belongs to her dead father. She brought it here so that she could communicate with him during the ritual, as it is her father's personal item. Blondie freaks out and shoots herself in the head, thinking that this is how she will reach her father. Natalia runs into the hallway and sees someone in a chair. She approaches as he groans and discovers that it is Chubby, with no eyes and a body full of wounds. Natalia bursts out screaming, but Stud appears behind her and shuts up her big mouth. So Natalia believes he killed Chubby, but Stud claims he came in after hearing screams. When she turns around, Natalia finds the dead body of the shaman's assistant and becomes even more frightened. She runs into a room and blocks the door with a piece of wood. Inside, Natalia finds the terrified Sick Boy still crying. Then Natalia discovers her sister's eyeless body on the floor, and Sick Boy says he found it there. Sick Boy starts playing the drum and laughing hysterically. He says he hears voices in this room. At that point, he reveals to her that the satanic cults had practiced their rites in this building. He confesses that he was brought to one of these rites to cure his illness when he was still a child. Soon after, Sick Boy gets possessed by the devil and pulls off the shaman's head. He then pushes Natalia to the ground and begins to tongue massage her. Fortunately, Stud manages to enter the room and tries to save her sexy body from abuse. However, Stud loses his mind after discovering the dead body of Natalia's sister in that same room. He takes the knife and tries to stab Sick Boy, but Sick Boy stops his hand. Then, Sick Boy pushes Stud and pounces on him, eating his face but not his smelly part. In the process, Natalia runs out in fear, but stumbles and falls to the ground, losing consciousness. Fortunately, she is rescued by the old lady she had met the day before. The next morning, Natalia wakes up in her house. The old lady reveals herself to be the nun who helped Natalia's mother during childbirth in the past. She states that Sick Boy was also born under similar circumstances as Natalia, namely during a satanic ritual. The devil wanted to collect their souls, but the nuns saved them at that time. However, the devil manages to lure them back to this place, and this encounter is inevitable now. The only reason the devil did not kill her at birth was that he wanted to get what he lost, a child. Furthermore, the old lady reveals that the devil gave her a name at birth, and she has to find out what it is in order to free herself from the devil. The old lady and Natalia return to the sacred place to perform a ritual in order to exorcise Sick Boy. They find Sick Boy sleeping inside a room, and the old lady creates a circle of salt around him. She states that the salt will lock the demon inside, and he will not be able to come out of it. She then gives Natalia a potion and makes Sick Boy drink it. As a result, the possessed Sick Boy wakes up and tries to get out of the salt circle, but it stops him. The old lady starts reciting prayers, but she is not powerful enough to exorcise the demon away from him. At one point, the demon sets fire to the salt circle he's locked in. He then controls Natalia with telekinesis, causing her to vomit insects. The demon also begins to take control of Natalia, and the old lady makes her drink a potion containing holy water. However, that has no effect on her, and Natalia, now possessed, throws her on the ground. After the salt is charred, the possessed Sick Boy manages to get out of his circle and kills the old lady. The next morning, Natalia wakes up in the middle of the salt circle, with Sick Boy standing in front of her. When he tries to jump on her, he's stopped by the protective barrier created by the salt. The connection between Natalia and Sick Boy also allows her to change his aura. In fact, Sick Boy recovers to his normal self for a moment and reveals that he discovered from the devil her real name, Luciferina. Once her real name is discovered, she is free from her connection to the devil. Therefore, Sick Boy tells her to escape. Natalia then flees away, but when she reaches the boat, she recalls what the devil desires as a child. So she decides to return and implements a plan to complete the exorcism. She enters the monastery and undresses, enticing the devil with the promise of intercourse. As the two copulate, Natalia turns the act into ritual sex. So in that way, she can exorcise the demon out of Sick Boy. In the end, she succeeds in her plan and manages to drive the devil away. However, the sexual encounter leaves Natalia pregnant, so she goes back to the convent, asking the nun for help, because she knows that now the devil will come to take the child he wanted. The nun reassures her that she is safe here, and they will not allow anyone to take her baby away. Thank you for watching. Please share the video.